Welcome acolytes. Today I am reacting to a video named She's in Serious Trouble, Pyro Live. What is it about? I don't know. What will we say? I don't know. What do I think about it? You will hear, I will see, probably also hear and talk. So let's just start. And by the way, if you like my content, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, press the notification button, and show me and Pyro some love, because well, he's doing his job. As do I. So let's just start.
Interesting character, a unique character. Now, I've documented a lot of very strange and weird individuals online.
Well, as he shows himself, perfectly captured. Just saying. So, nice.
And most of them you can find by just getting on your phone, opening TikTok, and then scrolling for 2 seconds until you see someone live.
Entering Glizzy Overdrive.
But it now seems that Gypsy Rose Blanchard is on the run, not from the authorities, but apparently from her ex-husband.
I think I remember this girl, but because before he says it, I think this was the girl that actually unalived her mother, but it actually had a halfway decent reason. Yeah, just here.
It is really weird to cover the entirety of Gypsy Rose because I feel like I've talked about a lot of YouTubers, a lot of TikTokers, a lot of Twitch streamers, but Gypsy Rose is someone who transcends all of that. Now, Gypsy was infamously convicted for the murder of her mother, Claudine Dee Blanchard.
Yep. Oh, I remember our small detail. The mother actually pulled her teeth out for show, basically. Yeah, so let's just hear Pyro.
And this is all the way back in July 2016. It was something very much talked about. There was even a TV miniseries based on it called The Act. Now, the reason why Gypsy became so famous and a bit of an icon, which is again very weird to say because she did murder her mother, is because there are so many circumstances surrounding it. This isn't one of those situations where you see an individual that has done absolutely heinous things and then you get a bunch of like weird thirsty people online do a bunch of like edits of them. The reason why people took a lot of sympathy onto Gypsy and basically made her as famous as a Kardashian is because the situation revolving around her mother. So Gypsy's mother Dee would actually frequently lie to friends and family that Gypsy had many physical conditions like muscular dystrophy and also leukemia, and even on top of that, lying about Gypsy's age to people. All of this
and all of that, and she, even if a medical professional actually wanted to take her and control her, she basically just changed the freaking doctor. So
was basically to receive sympathy and money. There were so many lies stacked on top of each other that this was basically the ultra veteran difficulty of Guess Who. And Dee, Gypsy's mother, was very good at conning people. This wasn't a situation that ended with her being caught and having to do like a YouTuber apology. Whenever a doctor was suspicious, you know, taking blood tests and samples and thinking she doesn't actually have those illnesses that you're suggesting she has, she would instantly pull Gypsy out and find another doctor immediately to not blow the facade. There was some really messed up stuff going on here. Like, for example, Dee would teach Gypsy to not talk to doctors as soon as she was able to speak. That way she could actually continue to spread false information about Gypsy's health and well-being to people to, again, garner sympathy and money. There was even a report that came out that she used Hurricane Katrina as an excuse as to why certain medical documents around Gypsy were lost. They weren't found.
My mother told me and told the doctors that I had everything from leukemia to muscular dystrophy, paralysis.
And by the way, I just want to say, this went for a very long time. And this case just is one of the cases where I just say that Child Protective Services are just effing useless most of the time. I would even like say 80% of the time they are just freaking could also not exist, and it would be fucking fine, because the people that actually do those things are just effed up morons. And I am not saying that children shouldn't be protected. It's quite the opposite. I am actually mad because things like this should be in the Child Protective Services. It should be the job to actually control that, for fuck's sake. If medical records just stop and don't appear and just get like just vanished all the time, you should look into it.
from the neck down was one of actually in the medical records. And the doctor's seen me moving my arms, so how could I be paralyzed from the neck down?
It reminds me of Black Ops 2. You could actually get additional bits of intel to kind of help get better endings and stuff. And in one of the missions, there's this bit of intel that, like, if you're not quick enough to pick it up, it just burns up in flames. That is probably something that Gypsy's mom would have used as an actual excuse.
I didn't notice. But basically, yes, he's correct about it. It's... Oh my god, this was so good. Okay, perfect. Perfect example. Just on point, on point.
Now, we all know about parents being incredibly controlling of their kids. No, little Timmy, you can't play Fortnite past 7 p.m. You need your sleep for big boy school. But Gypsy's mother was also incredibly psychologically and physically abusive to her behind the scenes. Like I said earlier, Dee Dee had pretty much full control of Gypsy's life to the point that she wouldn't even be allowed in public most of the time. Because if she was out in public and speaking to normal people, you know, something might slip. She might say, excuse me, I can actually talk, and also my mother's been abusing me. On top of that, Gypsy didn't go to a public school and only received formal education around as high as kindergarten. Now, obviously, a lot of parents think it's better that their kids are homeschooled rather than being in a public school, and that's not something I'm trying to argue with at all.
Yeah, this is the thing about this argument. It's not clear cut, because some kids are actually better off just being homeschooled. A lot of them aren't. But for those that are and are homeschooled, it's actually better. It also depends on how you do it, because what homeschools often misses the freaking social aspect, and if that's missing, that's actually basically more important than the education you get. If you get along with people and know how to talk to them and such, it's way more important. You can way farther in life than with a good education.
A lot of people do function better being homeschooled. I mean, I remember myself, my parents were debating on having me homeschooled. That never happened. I just went to a public school. But, you know, that's still something that they put on the table because they thought that I would have functioned better there. And on top of that, Dee Dee would force Gypsy to get just horrible medical examinations. Like, I'm talking like Eli Roth hostel level. She'd get teeth removed. She would have various procedures on her eyes, which I can only imagine to be like, you know, the Dead Space scene where the needle is slowly coming in on the eye. And even on top of that, getting salivary glands removed, and also forcing her to shave her head multiple times because obviously they had to keep up the lie that she had leukemia. Now, back in 2011, Gypsy actually tried to run away with her mom with a man named Dan. Now, Dan is someone that she met at a sci-fi convention, and at the time, Gypsy was 19 years old, but Dee Dee still managed to convince Dan that Gypsy was a minor. And then upon arriving back home, Dee Dee basically destroyed Gypsy's personal computer, just smashed it to bits. You know that really old gif of like the fat guy in the office slamming his keyboard against the computer? It was probably something like that. And on top of that, restrained her to the bed and apparently threatened to smash her hands as well. Dee Dee was obviously very physically abusive to Gypsy and would even basically straight up refuse to feed her at times. Although that is the last time Gypsy would try to access the internet, because it basically was her only real gateway into the outside world. Now, reading into this, I find it really interesting because this isn't the first situation where parents have basically put so much pressure on a child that the child has ended up basically murdering them in retribution. I'm sure you've all seen the JCS video on Jennifer Pan, Jennifer's Solution. And some of you might have seen that Netflix documentary where they basically just yoinked JCS's research and then used like horrible AI upscaling to try and make this great college look better. But Jennifer was someone who had really oppressive parents that wanted her to do well at school or she'd basically be disowned. And at the time she was dating someone she loved, but he was also a drug dealer. So because of how oppressive Jennifer's parents were, she basically planned to murder them and then stage it as like basically a kidnapping gone wrong, where she was the sole survivor, when in reality it was really Jennifer's boyfriend's friends that came over and like murdered the parents. Obviously the father survived, and I just can't imagine the turmoil and stress of understanding that your own child basically tried to get you murdered. Now, Gypsy eventually did what all of us did before Discord, a Christian dating site, and there in 2015 she found her new partner in crime.
By the way, it's fine, fuck it.
And that is Nicholas Godazon. Now, the two of them apparently conspired to murder Gypsy's mother, Dee Dee, in retaliation for everything she's put Gypsy through, and then escaped Missouri to leave for Wisconsin. And the funny thing is, at the time, the only real way the police confirmed that Gypsy was involved in the murder at all is a Facebook post she made saying, "That bitch is dead." So yeah, definitely a sub-IQ moment there, basically self-reporting
Yes.
himself to the crime. Eventually, the couple were charged and Gypsy pleaded to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Second-degree murder has always been the weird one because third-degree murder is, oh, whoops, I didn't mean to leave that banana peel there. And then first-degree murder is, yes, I did mean to leave that banana peel there. My name is Agent 47. But second-degree murder is like the intent to cause harm to someone, but you didn't actually intend for it to be murder. So imagine if you're Barry at the pub and you're drunk, you throw a Guinness across the room, it hits someone on the head, an accident. It was an accident, third degree murder. But then if Barry sees someone from the rival football team, he throws a glass at their head and then they die. That's second degree murder. But then if Barry from the pub was sat with a Barrett 50 cal ready to shoot anyone from the opposing team knowing they're coming into the pub tonight, first degree murder. Now interestingly, even though she got second degree murder, Godazon, her partner, was charged with first degree murder. And for that reason, he's still, at the time of recording, currently serving time in prison on a life sentence. Now I'm sure you know Gypsy's kind of out and about now, she served her sentence. And what a lot of people find really interesting is that she's expressed multiple times that she regrets doing it. She regrets planning out the act of, killing her mother. And it really does make you think, how different would Gypsy's life have been if her mother was still alive? Probably not a good one. And I think that's one of the reasons why...
The thing is, we're just assuming that everything she says is true. That's, as Pyro said, this is a very, very interesting thing. Because at the end, this girl, and I am repeating, if everything that she says is true, she would have been abused until to this day. And the mother wouldn't even get any punishment of any sort, because let's be honest, the justice system is just full of people that actually worship freaking criminals, so there is no chance she would actually get any kind of real repercussions for her thing. But the life of Gypsy would be way worse off. So by just ending the life of her mother, and I still think it's not good what she did, but I also think it's a very, very hard thing to actually just say it one way or the other, because it was clear protection from her side. She wouldn't have been able to actually protect herself if the mother was still here. As a child, the Child Protective Services just completely failed her. Every single fucking day she had to actually get just extremely effed over, every day. It's just a really, really interesting question, and how this actually would have found any kind of resolution.
Why, when Gypsy got out of jail, she garnered so much sympathy and she blown up overnight, getting millions of followers on Instagram. Now, as the trial commenced, the Gypsy case got loads and loads of media attention, including Facebook groups, boomer groups, with millions and millions of supporters. There were loads of people that were backing up Gypsy here. They really wanted to see her come out on top of this. So much so that, like I said earlier, it got its own TV miniseries, it got a HBO documentary, and even a Lifetime movie. I'll be honest though, having a Lifetime movie made about you isn't exactly a high point. If I look up Lifetime movies right now, you see a Dance Mum's Unexpected Wins compilation. And keep in mind, all of these series and miniseries and films that came out about her, this was all while she was still serving her prison sentence.
Yeah, and I'm actually interested if she got any money out of that, or if they just took it and did her I will call it disservice, because you don't know if she actually wanted this. It could be that her life just got negatively impacted by those things, and yes, this is actually something that happens. That the documentary actually negatively impacts specifically the actual victims of the entire thing, so I don't know.
Sentence that she still had to serve. It was second degree. It wasn't anywhere near as bad as a first degree charge, but still, it wasn't just the judge went, overruled, there's so many people out there supporting you. Could you imagine if it was a Disney princess moment where it's oh, my little princess, how could I sentence you to jail? Everyone loves you despite brutally murdering your mother. Now I'm going to introduce a new character.
And I repeat the following thing. because I think I'm just not pointing this out enough. It's extremely bullshit that she actually killed her mother there. But as I said, the only thing that makes it interesting, it's wrong. But if she didn't, she would have a way worse life. So, I don't know.
Ryan Scott Anderson. This is a middle school special education teacher. He lives in Louisiana and decided to send, a little rote letter to Gypsy Rose. All because his co-worker at the time wanted to write to Joe Exotic from Tiger King. He said that his co-worker said that if you write to him, that being Joe Exotic, I'll write to Gypsy Rose Blanchard. So he basically did this as like a little bit of trolling, but he did not actually expect a genuine follow-up response from Gypsy. And then all of a sudden, a few months into 2020, they actually became pen pals. They became best buddies, and it blossomed into a relationship. How wholesome. So they ended up emailing each other back and forth, and then in 2021, they decided to actually meet up. So I do just want to put it out there to most Discordy daters. Gypsy Rose Blanchard is doing better than you. So this created the snowball effect as Gypsy...
She's... He just had to shake that. Oh, I love it, but basically true, yeah.
Story got more attention, so did the relationship between Gypsy and Ryan.
Ryan and Gypsy kissing in a tree. K-I-S-S-I-N-G.
So by July 2022, they actually got married, still, while Gypsy was serving her sentence in prison. It is really weird
bad
to think
idea.
about it. Gypsy is actually...
It's not because I don't think that actually you cannot find out, but you did it, like, those two didn't know each other for shit. At this point, like, you didn't know how the life with her or with him actually is. You are a pen pals and you can hide a lot of stuff being a pen pal, so a lot of truth. So marrying before you actually live together for a while, bad idea, lads. Bad idea, ladies, lads, or everyone. Like, you really have to know your partner before you actually do this step, and then know them better. It takes years before you can actually see a human being or know how they react in stress situation. That's one of the most important things, in my opinion.
Actually had more life experiences in prison than when she was out of it. And when her sentence was complete back in December 2023, she was a free woman to conquer the world. And she finally moved in with Ryan, living in Louisiana. Now, one thing they found very difficult initially is trying to navigate Gypsy's social media presence, because obviously, as soon as she left, she blew up overnight. There were more people waiting for the midnight release of Gypsy Rose Blanchard than GTA 5. Do you remember when people used to actually queue up at midnight for video games? Not just sit there on Steam at 1 in the morning. So, like I said, near the end of Gypsy's sentence, people on Instagram, TikTok, the 5 people that unironically use YouTube Shorts were eagerly waiting. Probably sat outside to record her so they could do like a YouTube short about it.
I just met Gypsy Rose Blanchard. It was the babiest drunk Rising, Ohio in yet history.
And Gypsy wasn't someone to kind of, live the quiet life. She loved the fame that she got, hence why she set up a TikTok and Instagram account that blew up. Because Gypsy had a lot of fame, that fame can be transferred into one thing that's even more important than fame. Money. Like, for example, she was using her socials to...
I mean, he's partially... to a big degree, right? To a big degree. Yep.
Her Lifetime docuseries, The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. I mean, not to be mean, but getting a Lifetime docuseries probably isn't the most, premium pedigree of documentary series. It's kind of the Tesco club card of the documentary series world, but, I'm sure she would take any money she could. Now, she ended up getting over 9 million followers on TikTok and around 8 million on Instagram.
And by the way, nothing wrong with that. I'm not shit-talking her because she took the money. I'm gonna be honest, I would too. But my life, even as of now, it just isn't interesting, so won't happen.
Which is absolutely unheard of to get that many followers on TikTok from basically just sat there in prison. The majority of people that manage to get anywhere near that following on TikTok basically just self-insert themselves doing a duet to basically any video that's viral for the past 24 hours. Now, I'm not sure if Gypsy had some kind of marketing team when she was in the slammer, because she came out and she did all the right things to blow up her account even more. So she posted her first selfie and video when she actually ended up leaving prison, basically the first footage of her as a free woman.
I'm finally free.
Why does she say it like that? Why does she say it like it's a Dora the Explorer bit? I'm finally free!
This, situation, there are other ways out. I did it the wrong way.
Don't say that.
I did.
Murder is wrong.
What the don't say... murder is still wrong. Well, I agree that it was a very like tricky situation, and I don't really. I mean, I blame her to the point where I am like, yeah, it was very shitty of doing actually the murder part, but it was a very, 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 very a very hard situation for her, because this was like not cut clear, not black and white, but for fuck's sake, murder is still wrong. And I'm not even trying to like defend her or something like that, but saying, no, you weren't wrong. What's wrong with you? How fucked up in the head are you for doing, like saying that? That's sick.
Yes, murder's wrong.
And then obviously another thing that was being heavily scrutinized is Gypsy's relationship with Ryan, which led to her write this very bizarre Instagram post. Ryan, don't listen to the haters. I love you and you love me. We do not owe anyone anything. Our family is who matters. If you get likes and good comments, great. If you get hate, then whatever, because they don't matter. I love you. Besides, they're jealous because you are rocking my world every night. Yeah, I said it. The D is fire.
The D is fire.
Happy wife. Happy life. Yeah, getting like nearly 500,000 likes on that is absolutely wild. But unfortunately, as for a lot of people, Gypsy just couldn't take all the flack she was getting on social media, all the critics, all the one follower Andes. So in March, decided to deactivate her TikTok and her Instagram account. She basically mentioned that she was getting constant death threats and just...
I mean, that's her decision. At the end, not everybody needs the fame. Not everybody is about that. But also, on the other hand, it's basically free money. Like, you won't really get an easier job than this. So even here I am like a bit too...
couldn't take it anymore. She basically decided that, whoa, hold your horses. Maybe this life of fame and fortune isn't really for me.
Yeah.
And she basically wished to have a private life away from social media. Now, a lot of people called her
and she probably fucked it up. Like, she won't ever have a totally normal life anymore. Yes, after a few years of reacting to anything, you will have, but for a long time from now on, she will have some shit. Like, she won't have any near a normal life for the longest time from now on. So yeah, but this is hard. This is the social media part of. She actually wanted it. She gets it. And this is the price you basically pay for being a person of that people know you.
Insane for deleting all of her socials, you know, all that following, all that possible revenue stream just being absolutely, you know, vanished. They called her crazy. They basically did the vast speech in front of her like, crazy. I was crazy. But, you know, instead of the moral of the story talking about repetition and doing the same thing over and over, it's like, why did you delete all the free money, idiot? Well, she basically said that she just couldn't give a fuck about the following, that that's not real life.
You're insane for deleting that kind of a following. I could give a F about a following. That's not real life.
Which is true, that isn't real life. I mean, you know, unless you're using like VR chat or something. Now, despite deleting her socials, she was still a celebrity, whether she liked it or not.
Yeah,
you know, she couldn't do the thing in Saints Row where you go and get like plastic surgery on your face and just look like a completely different person. Oh wait, she did get plastic surgery. But unfortunately, it's like real life plastic surgery where you just look like how you're meant to before, but you just look better, hopefully better. There's been many cases of people getting like Botox and stuff.
Yeah, I covered that last video. Yeah, it sounded funny.
But it does not work out. I don't know what happened to me. Like, this is a picture of me from a couple of months ago. I don't know what kind of fillers I got. But unfortunately, a week later, after deleting her socials, she said that she was separating from her partner, Ryan. So they were married for 2 years, lived with each other for around 3 months, but she officially filed for divorce in April. Now, unfortunately, some relationships, they come to a close, you know, unreconcilable differences. That's fine. Maybe we can go in our separate directions with our head held high. No, because she got a restraining order against him. So apparently one of the reasons their relationship went sour and ended is because Ryan had a very bad habit of hoarding food. So apparently this was something that she was on.
Really? What the fuck? That's why I say you should actually have, before you married the guy, you should have actually known him. Or maybe she's the crazy one and just lies. This could be, but we're just assuming for now that she's the one that actually got left over for now. Because I still, for fuck's sake, I just feel for this girl. Like, if this is true what she says, like, this was a fucked up situation being in this. And she actually made some really hard choices. And I mean actual hard choices. And she did mistakes. Not gonna say she didn't, but she did mistakes. It's just fucked up. Like, and I'm normally ice cold. Like, if you actually watch me, you know I am a freaking ice cube for a lot of the times. But in this specific case, it was like, I do not fucking know.
Aware of, like, during the marriage. So he would often purchase like loads and loads of food in bulk, like, I don't know, Twinkies or something, and then just put it all in the fridge and never eat it, so it would rot.
Okay.
Which, I'll be honest, sounds like one of the most petty things imaginable. I actually thought she was going to say that he was abusive or something, and it reminded her of like the past experiences with their mother. But
or maybe she's just saying the truth. Because hoarding actual food is disgusting, and I despise people who actually just waste food for no reason. If it goes sour sometimes, yeah, you just forget. But doing it on purpose, basically, that's something I really dislike. Like, there are enough people who suffer hunger deaths, so you shouldn't, like, even if you don't give a fuck, like, okay, fine, fair enough, but I actually am one of the people that says, no, don't waste it. I mean, you still have a good life, but just don't waste the things you have.
no, he's just keeping food in the fridge. He probably also collects too many Funko Pops as well. I do like as well how he just kept the food in the fridge and then it went rotten. I thought reading into this, it was going to be like a Marlon Brando situation where like they had to like padlock the fridge because the guy was like eating so much and his mates were like, sneaking food into the house, which is a real thing that happened with Marlon Brando, by the way. Like, Marlon Brando is one of my favorite actors, and I actually had no idea that he went from like, such a conventionally attractive guy to that. So Gypsy opened the fridge one day, saw the absolute mess inside. I assume a Dark Souls boss health bar appeared at the top of the screen, and she took it upon herself to clean out the fridge, just to be nice. But then apparently it started a huge argument between the two. So she felt concerned about the future of their relationship, so she was the one who decided to leave. There were also some other things mentioned, like for example, apparently he snored a lot, and she didn't like the temperature in the bedroom at night, which again, it just seems like very petty things. To be fair, I think some people when they sleep, they do need the temperature to be perfect and absolutely no snoring. I mean, me, for example, I always have to listen to like ambient rain sounds when I sleep. And if the room is not like sub-zero temperatures, I can't sleep. Like during summer in the UK, I am screwed. I could be sleeping on an actual paper towel and it is still too hot for me to sleep. So when Ryan was asked...
You know what? I have the same problem. I have the effing same problem. I get you, bro. But... me. Shit.
From his point of view about the separation, he basically just says, it came out of the blue. I have no idea what's going on. I'm at a complete loss. And I'm not doing well at all. Well, people actually found out that pretty soon after that, Gypsy actually got with her ex-fiance, a guy called Ken Urker. And speaking of Ken Urker, don't worry. We are not letting the flame on the D is fire die out just yet. We need to stoke that ember. Because Gypsy responded to a fan comment about her recent relationship. And apparently she says that, she's very happy now. Now, I'll be honest, this very blunt end to their marriage, it really wasn't a surprise whatsoever. I don't mean to be the British person here doing the American labad, but I'm going to do it anyway. So apparently, according to a 2014 study focusing on incarceration and divorce rates, when one person gets incarcerated, the rate of divorce basically increases. And it goes on to mention that even if the person is released from prison, the marriage is most likely to fail. And the rate of that failure actually doubles if the marriage occurs during incarceration, which is exactly what happened with Gypsy. Look, bro, I am just the messenger, okay? I'm just reading statistics on a screen. So what's the moral of the story? Don't get married in prison. Don't go to prison. I'm not sure. I'll get back to you on that one. So... Gypsy is now back in the news because a month after she deleted all of her socials, she's now claiming that she's lost $6,000. All because she used Ryan's, her ex's PayPal, to enter the TikTok Creator Rewards program. The way that program works, pretty similar to monetization on YouTube. You post a bunch of garbage content, you'll get ads, you'll probably get a little bit of money. But TikTok ad revenue is nowhere near as much as YouTube because the content is so short form. I mean, that's exactly why Vine died off, even though Vine is basically just TikTok now. It died off because Vine could not be monetized. It was so difficult to actually make money off it. A little bit of a side note, but that's why I really hate TikTok, because obviously you can't have like 10, 15, 30-second advertisements that play that are unskippable, you know, before like a 3-hour video. You can't do that on TikTok. So instead, what you'll notice is you'll see an ad, you'll notice it's an ad, you'll scroll, and then, oh my God, I don't know whether like it's just my algorithm or something, or like stuff I've been watching, but I get so many shillers. It's like you have people that will post like 20 to 30 TikToks a day of just them doing the same bit over and over, like someone's gonna get fired for this Red Bull that's cheap, or someone's gonna get fired for this RFID wallet. Like, I get it, bro, you're getting the bag, we all need to start somewhere. I respect the hustle, but please get off my page. God damn. It's like Twitter. Like, I will never block someone on Twitter in my life, but like on TikTok, I've actually had to start blocking people because I get every third scroll is just some shill for a product that I do not want or will ever need. Anyway, tirade over. Back onto Gypsy. So obviously she lost around 6K because she set up the wrong PayPal. She set up her ex's onto TikTok, and she said that she didn't really think about the decision when she made the choice to permanently delete her TikTok account. And apparently she hasn't talked to Ryan directly about this either, which again, probably not the best idea. Instead, choosing to deal with everything through her divorce lawyer, you know, to basically get all the money back and also spousal support. The same thing that absolutely ruined Brendan Fraser. If you guys ever get a chance, look up Brendan Fraser alimony and then go onto Google Images and look at the first result. I gotta see if this actually holds up. Hang on. No. It's the alimony. No. They did one of the mummy. It's called the They did one called the mummy, and it's called the alimony. No, where is it? They turned him into Cruelty Squad. That's so good. Power and misery. Literally the lowest level you could be in Cruelty Squad. Oh, there it is. The bunny. It's so much more funny because it was like so difficult to find it, so it's so rewarding. The money. That's gonna kill me. That's actually gonna kill me like the whole time. That one's fucking Kino. I misremembered it because I haven't seen that image in like 6 years. I thought it was the alimony. Now it seems like Gypsy's ex-marriage has just got more and more messy over time, and unfortunately, because she became so famous and signed onto all these contracts and got all this fame, people cannot stop but looking into it. God forbid I deal with my own problems in life. I'm gonna go look at someone who's more famous than me, completely fuck up and fail to distract myself. It's therapy. But obviously, even though I'm trying to sympathize with her a little bit, you know, a little olive branch, it's, you know, she's been so careless with a lot of money. Recently, she's also undergone a rhinoplasty, she's fixed her teeth, she's dyed her hair, and she's got, on top of that, a matching husky tattoo with Ken. Ken is in her...
Oh, for fuck's sake. By the way, I understand that teeth thing because she... Fixing your body is a different thing than actually having some surgeries done to you, like plastic surgeries. Plastic surgeries are entirely different than fixing your stuff. Those are two things, but for fuck's sake, nah.
Current partner, I'm not talking about Ken Ryan Gosling from Barbie, although... God, I wish, imagine that fan fiction. All of this is apparently going to be documented in another Lifetime series documentary. And that one is called Gypsy Rose, A Life After Lockup. I do not know what kind of drugs they are smoking till I get the ideas for these. And that really does bring into question, if she's had all this expensive surgery done, is she really hurting for $6,000? Or is she, you know, someone that's embracing this like pretty girl era? So this brings some questions into light. For example, question uno. Why did Gypsy not use her own bank account if she, you know, didn't have PayPal? Now, according to the TikTok's business and creator page, which details, you know, specifics of the creator rewards program, it states that PayPal is currently the only supported method for creators in the United States, as well as Japan, South Korea, and Brazil. As to why she couldn't make the PayPal account herself, I don't know. There's not really a lot of information.
I think because she's a felon. Because no matter what, you actually have some consequences if you're a felon. And it's not that funny. Let's just say it like that. But people will still like support you if you did some shady stuff. So
information out there as to why she wouldn't just make an account herself as opposed to then using Ryan's. Honestly, if anything, at the time it might have just been easier for her to kind of hook up, you know, her partner's PayPal account, thinking, what's the worst that could happen? We didn't even sign a prenup. It really does seem that Gypsy is, you know, a little bit too eager to join in on the trending conversations about her, and then also on top of that as well, jumped into a marriage with, you know, kind of rose-tinted glasses a little bit. But to be fair, looking at it from a contrarian's point of view, it is kind of hard to blame her. You know, she's someone that was basically brought up her entire life by her mom, tricked into thinking she was like a child, even when she was an adult, being constantly coddled, abused physically, mentally, basically being lied to that she was incredibly chronically ill. She's probably very emotionally and developmentally stunted. And then the worst thing imaginable happened, apart from murder. She became very, very famous incredibly quickly. And if you don't have, like, you know, the mental fortitude for that, it can break you down in seconds. And the only real social skills she picked up after her mother was in prison. Because if you think about it, when Gypsy was brought up, she was incredibly confined by her mom, and then in prison, somehow less confined, because at least there, her mother isn't in the picture, just big metal bars, but these are visceral ones, not actual, you know, metaphorical ones. And then after serving her sentence, she's out in the limelight, becomes incredibly famous, and it was obviously just way too much for her. You know, growing up and forming relationships and stuff, it can be difficult enough, but doing that with all those factors in play as well, it is kind of hard to not sympathize with her. Obviously, the court case is still ongoing with the PayPal money, but I just thought it'd be interesting to kind of do this whole kind of retrospective of Gypsy Rose. Obviously, there's so much more to go into, but that was basically, you know, the overview of it. Like and subscribe if I should talk about more murderers.
and well, Pyro, as always, very good video. He actually did a fine job of getting the information all about, because in the past I actually thought that he's just a shitlord, nothing more, nothing less, but he actually does really fine stuff. Like I am still positively surprised until this day that he actually does like really nice stuff. So yeah, but this is Acolytes, hope you had fun. Good night.